Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast.
And here's your host, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Grab a hot dog, maybe some nachos. If you got a helmet, put it in the helmet and eat your nachos out of it. It could be a bike helmet. It could be a motorcycle helmet. Motorcycle helmet would be good for nachos because it's deep.
That's a lot of nachos.
Right. It'd be kind of messy probably at the end, but helmet nachos, it didn't say what kind of helmet.
Yeah.
Grab those, settle in. It's time for Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. This week, tons to talk about. The umpires are trying to overtake the game again, it seems, and a few people are at the carnival, riding the wheel. All right, remember, you can find us on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A, Facebook and Instagram, Sibling Rivalry BB with the A, and at our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. Who knows, coming soon, maybe some other social media platform. Or maybe we'll just go hang out at a mall somewhere and you can come find us there.
We should do mall tours like Tiffany. That's how she got started, right?
Right, yeah. They used to have that. It'd be like, her, and there was a bunch of others that they had like the whole mall circuit thing going.
Yeah, we need the mall podcast circuit.
The mall podcast circuit. I like that. I always wanted to do, when I was in radio, I wanted to do book signings, and you just bring whatever book you want and I'll sign it. Because I didn't write a book, but I didn't say my book signings.
Just
I
book.
said book signings. I never got to do that. Maybe that's it. I'll do a book signing at a mall, or we could just start going to like little league fields, any field, if it looks like a baseball field, we'll be there. You find us, we'll sign your book.
That's right.
You can bring your annual, because it's about that time of year, right?
Yeah.
We'll
write
book.
Have a great summer.
That's right. Have a great summer. Remember that time in Mr. So-and-so's class? Yeah, neither do I. Have a great summer. So we often talk about, for Angel Hernandez is who we generally talk about. We talked a little bit Joe West. We talk about different umpires, but now one has decided that he's more important to the game than the starting pitcher. Dan Bellino, who... See, I always thought this. Now, I've always known there's different umpires. We've kind of always known their names throughout the years. But for the most part, you don't know the umpires' names unless you look it up. And you really shouldn't know the umpires' names. You don't need to know their name. If they're doing their job right, you never think about them, right? Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, they should really be, I'd say invisible, but they're not the main part of the game.
What is it? Seen but not heard?
Yeah.
You should only hear them in the out or safe calls.
Yeah, or if they have like some of them you can hear, ball strike, but
right.
That's about it.
And then the head umpire, the crew chief, whenever he has to explain what the review thing was. I'm good with those. But for the most part, they should not be that big of a part of the game. Well, if you may or may not have heard, Madison Bumgarner, who we know is a fierce competitor, and he can be kind of an ass sometimes.
Yeah, and he's hothead.
Yeah. He comes off the mound. He's already had a tough inning with a couple of calls. This is the first inning, and he's already had some issues with the home plate umpire with a couple of ball strike calls. But he gets out of the inning. He's walking off, and the first base umpire comes over to check his hand. But if you see the video, he's like staring Bumgarner right in the face, right in the eyes, and then feeling around on his hand.
Yeah, he never looked at his hand at all. He just stared at MadBum. It was very creepy.
Oh yeah. It was weird. Because if you watch enough games, you see them come over, and it's usually real quick. They check, a couple places, and they may say something to them. But for the most part, they look at their hands. They do their touch, test, and then they go on. It's not a long, and everybody's like, what happened? What did Bumgarner say to him? Well, at the time, Bumgarner said, it doesn't matter what I said. It doesn't matter how I said or what I would have said that would have changed the outcome of this. The umpire said that he used an expletive towards him. And when you read what Bumgarner says he says, there was an expletive in there, but it wasn't necessarily directed at him, like you're a blankety blank, whatever. He basically told him, if you want to play this little piggy, go back to the minor leagues, or go back where the kids are in the minor leagues, or something to that effect. And he threw in one of your favorite motivational buzzwords. And honestly, one of my favorite words, period. I love that word. It's fun. It's fun to say. It can be used in so many different ways. But anyway, so he said that. The guy decided he didn't like that and tossed him from the game. Now you figure he's just being a jerk umpire. Now we're all up in arms, but 2 days later, Dan Bellino comes out and apologizes. A very umpire-like thing to do.
Yeah, most of the time these things happen and you never hear an umpire come out and say, I shouldn't have done that. I behaved poorly. And he does say, he's been umpiring for 15 years now. And he said that he was told to umpire every game as if his children were sitting in the front row. And he said he fell short of those expectations. Because if that was my dad and, he was doing that, I'd be like, you're creepy. Well, you're a weirdo. I mean, he looked really, it was just so creepy. Or he was trying to do like a mind meld on Bumgarner.
Yeah, it seemed like he was, I don't know if he decided he was offended for the home plate umpire and he wasn't going to have any more of this, if he just doesn't like MadBum, which could be the case, but it doesn't matter if you like him or not. Really, you just now put your finger into the results of the game.
Yeah, I mean, he threw out their starting pitcher and in the first inning.
Right. They didn't even get they were coming back in. They were at home. He's on the mound in the top of the first inning. The Diamondbacks hadn't even come to bat yet, and he's already been tossed out. It's one thing if he's having a bad game or he got injured, but now the Diamondbacks have to adjust their whole game plan.
Yeah. It was such a bizarre incident. And even, you see when the pitchers come off the mound and they look like, okay, who's going to check my hand? And the umpire is supposed to take their thumb, check their fingers, and that's it. But even the catcher stopped. Like most of the time, everybody's just going to the dugout. Umpire checks the pitcher's hand, and not a big deal. This time, even the catcher's like staring at them, like, what is going on? And then
Right.
Bumgarner had to be restrained because if they hadn't restrained him, I don't know what would have happened to the umpire.
Probably would have ended up getting a suspension. Normally, if you get tossed out of the game, there's some sort of a fine that goes with that. After an investigation or after they looked into the incident and the umpire apologized, apparently the umpire received some sort of discipline, but he was still out umpiring this last weekend or that, the next weekend. So it's not as if he missed any games.
Yeah. I think if I was a pitcher and he was umpiring and he was like at first or third, because those are usually the two umpires that do the, depending on the dugout, I would say can I request another umpire to do my substance check, because this guy's creepy. I don't want him staring at me like creeper.
Nope. That's yeah. So it looks like MadBum's not going to get, he just got tossed, but there's no further discipline for him because he shouldn't have been. It was not a righteous ejection.
Right.
It's weird though, because this is the second time recently that an umpire has apologized. Chad Fairchild, another umpire that I didn't know his name, was behind home plate for the for Mets game, and he called what should have been a third strike a ball, and as Chris Bassett, who was the pitcher, was leaving the mound after he did get the batter out on a third strike, he told him, "Hey, that was my bad. I messed up for missing that. That's 2 times. So is this something we're going to start seeing? Do you think, or is it just this guy, Chad Fairchild, did it on his own? Nobody came to him. Do you think Dan Bellino was kind of forced into it?
I think Fairchild's apology, or hey, yeah, I missed that. Sorry. That happened right at the moment, right then. And I think Bellino was more, because it was issued through MLB. It was a written statement. I'm pretty sure that they were like, yeah, you need to. Maybe that was part of his punishment, was he had to a written apology about his actions. So Fairchild, I think, was more, I don't want to use the word, but organic. And Bellino's, it was not.
And it's cool that he did it then, because I'm sorry, I misrepresented the situation. After that missed call, Dansby Swanson, they were playing the Braves. Dansby Swanson he walked. Then Bassett hit Ronald Acuna Jr. So he's got 2 runners on, and instead of being out of the inning, he's now in a jam, which changes the way that he pitches, puts a little more stress on him. He was able to get out of the inning, which is what I meant to say. And so, it is a rare occasion that happens. I don't think that we're going to see that a whole lot, because most of them don't want to admit that they were wrong.
Well, yeah, they're in a game they're in a profession where they have to, they're supposed to be right. If they call a strike, it should be a strike. Obviously, we know, or, if it's a ball, it's a ball. Obviously, we know that doesn't happen all the time.
No, ask Marcell Ozuna, who saw 3 straight balls and was struck out looking on 3 straight balls.
Yeah.
They were clearly out of the strike zone. Marcel's like, do I need glasses? Am I missing something here? I thought for sure those were out of the strike zone.
Well, and these type of things that happen, that's when you hear people, oh, we need the robo-ump. We need that. I don't know. I haven't seen the robo-ump in action. I hope to at the AAA level. So the umpire is still going to be back there, but they're going to be, hooked up with their own, earbuds or whatever with the strike. So we'll see how that works. But
that's right. They just become, and then we'll really have to hear them, because if they'll have to let us know what the robo-ump told them to say. They themselves become parts of the automation.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Anyway,
I think it would be cool to have a robot just do the sticky substance check instead of, like an android to do it instead of if we have a robo-ump, then we need an actual robot.
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 You know what? I bet you they could do something like that, where they could set up a little machine off before you go to the dugout, and you just put your hand in there and it scans it.
Yeah.
Just like there's different things, or but if you put it in and it scans your fingers for those substances, I bet you there's something out there that could do that. And then the umpire doesn't have to do it anymore. And they put it in, and then if you have something on there, a red light goes off and the umpire comes over and says, okay, let me see. And otherwise, they don't have to mess with it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, there's just a little kiosk for the pitcher.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think that's a good
Get the little
idea.
thing, they put it in, and then if it lights up and says, "Ooh, no," if it's got a green light or nothing happens, it's fine. But otherwise, it's like little flashing red light or something, so that way they know they suspect there was something there. Then the umpire can come over and look at it.
Yeah,
I
and you
like
don't
it.
have to have the weird, awkward, creepy Bellino. That's how I call him.
Creepy Bellino. No, that was out of control. On a high note, we get to this last week we got to wish Willie Mays happy 91st birthday. A Hall of Famer born back in May 6th of May 1931 in Alabama. One of the last of the Negro League players to play in the major leagues. Played in 1948 for the Birmingham Black Barons, and of course we know he was a New York and San Francisco Giant, and then a New York Met. For a long time, he sat at number 3. Actually, he was like number 2 on the all-time home run list until his buddy Hank Aaron passed him up. He was about 30 home runs ahead of Hank. And for a long time at number 3, now we'd have to go back and count how many. What's he at? 5 or 6 now on the home run list. A career .301 batting average, 3,293 hits, 12 Gold Gloves, 1,909 RBIs. He led the MLB in batting in 1954 with a .345 batting average, and his highest batting average in any season was 1958, first season with as the San Francisco Giants with a .347 batting average. But he didn't win the batting title. Richie Ashburn of the Phillies did. So once again, happy birthday to the Say Hey Kid, 91 years old. Hopefully we get to celebrate 100 with him.
Yeah, I would say 91 years young, because he still is very much a part, and will always be, but very much a part of baseball today. And so that would be really cool. 100 years. Of course, when he there's a story I saw about, I think it was when he was 37. So going back, one of his teammates had a cake made for him in the shape of his of his number, the 24.
24.
And it weighed 569 pounds, the cake.
Wow.
Yeah. So a cake he will never forget.
No, I don't think so. That's crazy. That is a lot of cake.
It's a lot. A birthday tidbit about Willie Mays.
That'd be more like a birthday ton bit.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Schedule-wise, the Dodgers had a pretty easy week. Only 5 games. They had a 2-game set with the Giants, and then they went to Chicago to play the Cubs, and that was just a standard series. So only 5 games over the 7, whereas some teams were playing all 7. Usually you get 6 games in a week, maybe 1 day off, but not the Dodgers. They had an easy week.
They had an easy week because they're going to have a grueling, where they've got 31 games in 31 days. So
Right.
They're preparing.
It was it's weird how that works. You would think there'd be a way to balance it out a little more so that you didn't have stretches like that.
Yeah.
Where I know the Angels had have a 20 games in 20 days kind of thing, but those 31 days of games, or I think they actually have a day off, but there's a double header in there somewhere.
Yes. Yeah.
For the Dodgers.
Yeah.
That I recall. So quick set with the Giants. In fact, this whole week was one big W. Just to put it in a nutshell, it was a sweep week.
Yeah, sweep week. Giants came in to Chavez Ravine just to play 2 games. And just a little teaser for the next 17 that they'll be playing. I think they'll be back in June. The Dodgers will be in San Francisco. But the first game, the Dodgers won 3-1. But in this game, Julio Urias looked really good, went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, but no runs, had 4 strikeouts, and he 65 pitches in those 6 innings. There's a lot of talk about why Dave Roberts pulled him from the game. But during that third time around in the batting order, they started getting some contact off of him. So it was probably the right thing to do. And again, it's early. So Urias gets the win there. It was all about CT3. Chris Taylor, 2 for 3, had a double. Trey Turner had a double off of his college roommate, Carlos Rodon. So that was fun for the two of them. Well, maybe more for Trey than
probably more for Trey. Now, Carlos Rodon didn't look bad in that game either. He went 6 innings as well, gave up 3 hits and 2 runs. So not quite as successful as Julio, but
Yeah, I think the story of this game is the balls that were hit and then just died at the warning track. There was one that Bellinger hit, I think it was in the 5th inning, and it looked like it was going to go. Even the pitcher for San Francisco was like, I'm not looking back there because it's a home run. And the umpire's throwing him a ball, like, come on, you got to get, here's the next batter. And he's like, what's going on? Oh, I got caught because he didn't want to look. And that happened not only for the Dodgers, but for the Giants too. There were a lot of balls that just died.
That's going around. I've watched highlights. I've watched, different games, and you're seeing that a lot where you can hear it. If you had your eyes closed, you heard the ball off the bat, you'd think that one's gone.
Yeah.
And it's an easy out.
Yeah. Well, for Cody, the ball off of the bat was 102 miles per hour. Of course, the San Francisco pitcher was like, oh, it had to have been 150 miles per hour off that bat, but still over 100 miles per hour, and it did not go out. So, but the Dodgers ended up with the win, which is always nice against their rivals, the Giants. And then Jocelyn came back. Jock Peterson came back, his first time in a Giants uniform. And here we go once again, the booing controversy. To boo or not to boo? That is the question.
If it's your own player, it depends. Eventually, booing your team or a certain player on your own team it could be acceptable, depending on what's going on. If I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan and I'm going to the games, I think at some point you could start booing. And if one of the players, and just Joey Votto's not the guy that's doing this, but let's say Joey Votto, who you expect a lot out of, was just doing terribly, striking out a lot. He just looked bad, and it just seems like he's not trying. Then booing him at that point seems reasonable. But if it's the other team, especially if he's a Giant, then that's fine. Jock didn't play the first game, and then he went 0 for 4 in the second game. So, and he's actually been playing okay. I think we pointed that out last episode or the episode before that, but he's had some good numbers. The question is, can he continue to do that to help out his new team? But, the Dodgers didn't sign him, so it's not his fault. Yes, he left on his own to start with, but did you boo him when he was a Cub? I think it has more to do with the team he's on.
I think so too. I think as a Cub, not that big of a deal because it's the Cubs. As a Brave, I think even when he came back, there were still some, yay, it's Jocelyn. But he's a Brave, so I would boo him. And then now he's in orange and black, so definitely he gets booed.
He went from bad to worse in
Yeah,
regards
he
to
really did.
how you feel about teams. Not doesn't matter that he went 0 for 4. It was not a good game for the Giants in game number 2. It was all about the Dodgers. And normally I look at the games and I write down who had good games. And maybe there's one or two, like the game before, like you mentioned, CT3, Trey. I'll write down what the pitcher did. This time I had a laundry list of players who had decent games, starting with the leadoff hitter, Mookie Betts.
Yeah, Mookie Betts 2 for 3, 2 RBIs, a home run. And this is an interesting stat. The Dodgers are 12 for 2 when Betts scores at least one run, and they're 11 and 4 when he gets at least one hit. So that right there tells you the importance of the leadoff hitter. And Mookie was showing that in this game. Second game, the Dodgers won 9-1. Tony Gonsolin started that game, went 5 innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk. So that's better because he has been a pitcher that, sometimes will have the same number of walks as strikeouts. He had 5 strikeouts, but the home run he gave up was to Brandon Crawford. And that was it. And then the rest was all about the Dodgers.
The bullpen, each reliever allowed someone to get on base, whether it be a hit or a walk. And the Giants very well could have had a whole different game if they could have taken advantage of those opportunities. Those are the things that the Dodgers have to, they overcame it with their offense, but it could have easily went a different direction. By letting people on base, you open up the doors for them to do more. Brandon, they're not a team that has a bad, they had a bad night, but this isn't going to happen every time. And they're still a strong team like they were last year.
Yeah, it's going to be back and forth for these two teams. Last year, the Giants won the division with 107 games. The Dodgers were right behind them at 106. So it's going to be a battle, I think, every time they come. And, they come to play. But I think one of the things, some people tried to discount the wins that the Dodgers had against the Giants in this series. Well, they didn't have Brandon Belt. They don't have Evan Longoria. They don't have Lamont Wade Jr. They had Mike Yastrzemski didn't play the first game, but he played the second game because they had some people out for COVID. But I don't think that you can really, I don't feel, when I look Brandon Belt, yeah, he's played, but he hasn't, it's not like he's up there hitting home runs or getting base hits every time. Evan Longoria is the same. They still have good pitching. Alex Wood.
Evan Longoria was out a lot last year. So it's not like they had him much last year, and look what they did. And Brandon Belt had issues last year too.
Right.
They kept him on the bench. So they're a team that they're like the Dodgers. They're built in such a way because the architects are kind of from the same school.
Yep.
They're built the same way that you probably, if you down a big bat, there's probably somebody who can step in and fill in that gap for a little bit. And yeah, the pitching is still good. And like you said, Alex Wood he pitched 5 innings in that game, 5 1/3.
Yep. Yeah. You have Logan Webb, in the pitching staff, I just thought that was like, well, okay, you must just be a Giants fan if you're discounting, the Dodgers won the 2 games, but they didn't have everybody.
Well, yeah, that's what you do. You automatically find a reason why. Oh, it must have been because.
Yeah, so good series for the Dodgers against the Giants. They are the story. They're one of the storied rivals in Major League Baseball. And so you expect, those games to go back and forth. The the Dodgers took off for Chicago.
Before we go
And-
there, I was
Yeah.
just noticing something because we're talking about how tough it is between the Dodgers and the Giants. Right now in the NL West, everybody, well, as of the weekend, everybody was above 500. Even the Diamondbacks were above 500.
Yeah, which I think the NL West is the only division where at that, as you said, as of the weekend, where every team was up at 500 or above.
Yes, that is true. So they head off to Chicago as you were setting up, a team that is playing well below 500, and basically get an extra day off.
Yeah, Chicago had a rain. It just poured on Friday. So no game on Friday. And I think I had heard that Chicago has had just like maybe out of 50 days, they had one day of nice weather. The rest, it's been cloudy, rainy. So we need some of that rain here out west.
Yeah, it's
more
funny.
than Chicago needs
I
it.
think on that Friday, there were 6 or 7 games around baseball that were postponed.
Yeah.
During the weekend,
Yeah.
there were a lot of doubleheaders.
Yep. And that's one of them was the Dodgers and the Cubs. They ended up playing 2 games on Saturday. In game 1, Kershaw pitched, and he was supposed to pitch on Saturday anyway. But he pitched the first game, and going into Wrigley Field, he has a 4.94 ERA at Wrigley. So I think he says it's not his, favorite place to pitch. And so maybe going into it, he was like, I don't know. But he went 7 innings, gave up 5 hits, no runs, 1 walk, only had 2 strikeouts, but still went the 7 innings, which is good to see with Kirsch, and obviously lowered his ERA, lifetime ERA at Wrigley. And then Skip, Bill Bickford came in, pitched a nice, 2 strikeouts, pitched an inning there, no runs. And then our favorite, Reyes Maranta, finished out the game. And the Dodgers won that game 7-0.
The bullpen actually no hit the Cubs.
Yeah. Yep. No hit the Cubs. And in this game, again, Mookie Betts, 1 for 4. Freddie Freeman, 3 for 4, had a double. Trey Turner, 2 for 3. JT, 1 for 5 with a double. Cuz, Austin Barnes, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs, had a home run in there. Bellinger had a double that's helped score a run. So just a good overall game for the Dodgers. Then they get a break. They come back. Tyler Anderson is on the mound. Dodgers win 6-2 in that game. Anderson pitches 5 innings, gives up 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. But again, it's Mookie Betts, 2 for 5, 5 RBIs, a home run, and a double in that game. So again, showing that when he gets on base or he gets a hit, the Dodgers win the game. And in game 3, it was the ESPN Sunday night game on Mother's Day. Dodgers have a nice win, 7-1. Walker Buehler's on the mound in his tight pants, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run that he gives up. He walked 2, had 6 strikeouts, and Mookie Betts, 2 for 5. And then Freddie Freeman, 2 for 4 with an RBI, and Cody, 3 for 4 with an RBI. And there was some kind of an unfortunate incident with Max and Wilson Contreras. It looked really uncomfortable for Max. Not sure what Wilson Contreras was doing, but
Cup check.
I guess, yeah, it was it was very unpleasant to see.
Yeah, I only heard that on the radio. I didn't see it, but they were trying to describe it without really describing it.
Yeah, I guess Kupchak is that. I also heard, he was going for the wrong ball. So,
so yeah, that was a little bit. Max stayed in the game. I'd like to, before we move on from here, I'd like to go back to the first game of the series, because I feel like you undersold Freddie Freeman's day.
I mean, he was 3 for 4.
You said he had a double. He
had
3 doubles.
Oh, that's true. See, times
and he's
3.
The first Dodger
I did have that
to ever have 3 doubles in a game.
It's Freddie Freeman. Come on.
I know, but if it had been just his first time, that's one thing. But no other Dodger in the history
pretty impressive.
had 3 doubles.
I'm sorry, Mr. Freeman, that I undersold your game.
There was so yes, that was cool that he did that. Great series overall, as you mentioned. Hanser Alberto, or Dancing Machine, as I like to call him, stepped up, had a couple of hits between the Giant series and the Cubs series. I noticed something interesting is Wilson Contreras, who you just mentioned. I don't know, medical exam with Max Muncy, hernia check. He was batting leadoff in a couple of the games, and he actually had in I think it was game 2. He actually 3 for 4 with a home run.
Yep.
And then we didn't see a lot out of Seiya Suzuki, but he had a triple in that second game as well. And then another thing that stood out to me was that Daniel Norris gave up 3 runs but no hit.
Yeah, that's
now,
right.
What happened was that he was taken out he was a relief pitcher. He was taken out. He had walked people. And then the pitcher that replaced him had the inherited runners, and the inherited runners scored. Thus, those go to Daniel Norris. The next night in Game 3, he pitched a perfect inning, and was the only one not to give up any runs in the 7-1 win. Another thing I saw about the Dodgers so far, no Zennings games for them,
which is good. That's a good thing,
right? And they've got no wins in 1-run games. So no wins on either one of those. They are towards the top of the National League with 5.5 runs per game. And I know at one point we were talking a lot about all the strikeouts. Cody, Max, Mookie. The league average is 241. I think the most in the league is 278. I don't remember who had that. 278 total strikeouts. The Dodgers only have 208, so they're well below league minimum. So maybe they're starting to figure it out. I'm not seeing as many strikeouts, it seems. So maybe that idea that we talked about recently with the, is it the ball? What is it that is the issue with the offense? Maybe that idea that this is extended spring, as we're heading into May, maybe things are starting to pick up, and the hitters are really starting to find their swing, as was suggested.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I didn't mention, this is going back to San Francisco, the second game of San Francisco. Max Muncy was 0 for 15, but he snapped that drought with a 2-run home run in that game. So that always feels good for Max, because he's a home run hitter. And when he's not hitting home runs, we don't have a happy Max.
Nope. 2 for 4 that game, 2 RBIs with that home run. All right. So it's all about Pennsylvania. Kind of.
That's it.
Coming up with the Dodgers, Pittsburgh. If I'm the Dodgers, I wish the schedule maker would have just given me the extra 3 games on the road. And you go to Pittsburgh, and then you come back home to play Philadelphia.
Right.
And then the following week, you go to Philadelphia. It's like, we're right here. Why not just work it out for us to go to Philly now, from Pittsburgh to Philly, and then we can go home. And then the Phillies can come see us when they're here
Yeah, doing their West Coast thing. No, of course not. Yeah, so the Dodgers are in Pittsburgh for 3, and then, like you said, they go home to face the Phillies for 4.
And then they then they're back out on the then they have the D-backs, and then they go to Philly.
Yeah,
Crazy. All right, who's your
that seems
player?
like I was gonna say wasn't George Costanza like the assistant to the traveling secretary for the Yankees, something like that? That seems like a Costanza move.
That does seem like a Costanza move.
All right,
Yeah.
my player of the week. I had to go with Mookie Betts. 9 for 22, 409 batting average, 7 RBIs, 2 home runs, double, scoring when on wild pitches. Just got to give it to Mookie. Like to see him back in form.
I agreed with that. He's my player of the week as well. Only 1 strikeout on the week.
Yeah.
So
Which
that's
we have talked about. And so maybe that theory I think is coming to fruition because the extended spring, more at bats, more comfortable in the batter's box.
starting to find that feel and that swing, which is happening with our next team as well. Well, if we could talk any of our favorites into sponsoring our show, this would be the point where we'd say something like, grab yourself an ice cold Dr. Pepper or Diet Dr. Pepper. Stop in and get yourself a Route 44 Diet Dr. Pepper at Sonic. And we could combine them and have that. But since we don't, we just talk about those things because it's the unofficial, uncompensated drink of Sibling Rivalry Baseball podcast, Dr. Pepper. If you've got a Sonic by you, visit them. Why not? They got all kinds of great drinks, and I don't know about the cake shakes, but those never really, they don't appeal to me. But if you have you had their pretzels?
Yeah, pretzels are really good.
Those pretzels are real good. Talking about real good, the Angels have actually been fun to watch lately. And it makes me wonder, it actually kept me awake a little bit last night because I'm thinking about this team and what's happening with them and saying, I've never given up on them, even at their worst. I've always been an Angels fan. I'm an Angels fan. But I noticed, I thought back this season, I've been kind of tempered in my enthusiasm. Because even when they were going 3-3, they still were doing well enough to have a winning record and that. But I was seeing all the things, and maybe I was just lowering my expectations so I wouldn't be disappointed should the same old thing happen again. And it's not to say that it won't, and I can't say that they're not going to go into a slump at some time because all teams do. But I'm beginning to realize that just like on anything in life, when it's good, you got to enjoy it. You got to ride it. You got to strike the iron while it's hot, as Mom would say. And I think that's the case. So I'm trying to be less, level-headed about the whole thing and enjoy the moments. And so the Angels go to Boston. They took on Boston and they came home for the Nationals last week. They head to Boston after because they had the White Sox. Now they got to go play the Red Sox. And it was a little harder to be enthusiastic and excited because we lost the finale of the series with the White Sox and then come in to play the Red Sox. And with the exception of Thor, going 7 innings, giving up 8 hits, 3 runs, one of those a home run, only striking out 3, but having what overall is a pretty good outing, especially with the 7 innings. The Angels generated really no offense and got blanked 4-0. Rafael Devers, J.D. Martinez with home runs, Jackie Bradley Jr., 2 doubles, just didn't work out for him.
I mean, you did have, Trout, Ohtani, and Stassi each had a hit, but
Right, but
that
that's 3 hits.
That's it.
That didn't do anything.
No.
So it was like, oh, okay. It is the Red Sox. We always had problems with the Red Sox. The Red Sox aren't doing particularly well.
Yeah, but they are one of those teams that you still have to watch out for because you never know.
Right, but they're as of the weekend, they're 10-19. They're at the bottom of the East.
Yeah.
They've got a negative 23 run differential. They're scoring 23 runs overall less. They've scored 23 less than their opponents. The White Sox, the Red Sox have scored more than the White Sox. And now we got beat by both of these teams who aren't scoring anywhere near the amount of runs that the Angels are scoring. As of the weekend, the Angels had scored 139 runs with a plus 27 run differential. The White Sox had scored 89 and the Red Sox had scored 95. Why? Well, it's only one game, right?
That's it. One game.
One game. So that takes us to game 2.
Yeah. So the Angels enter this game risking their first back-to-back shutouts since June of 1978.
Wow. That's a long streak of not being shut out in multiple games. That's a good stat. I like that one. That's pretty good. So yeah, so that's on the line after being blanked the night before. And when it started out, the game, the Angels had been not really scoring a lot at the beginning games. In this game, it took them 4 innings. The first 4 innings, they didn't score anything. In the 5th, they scored 2. And at that point, they're down 3-2. The Sox, Trevor Story, who's been pretty much a non-story for the Red Sox this season, 2 doubles in this game. But like the night before, he didn't get on base, no hits. I'm sure that he's, making the Red Sox wonder why they spend any money on him. And a lot of teams probably going, wow, I'm glad we didn't get him.
And he's probably thinking, wow, maybe it is better to play a mile high.
Maybe. Or he's thinking, doesn't matter. My contract's guaranteed. I get paid whether I hit or not. Well, I care.
It's true.
He might have said that. So the Angels, they're having the issues. They scored 2 in the 5th. They get another one in the 7th, but they're still down. At that point, at that point in the 7th, they're tied. But then the Red Sox, bottom of the 8th, score another one. So they're now down 4-3, which takes us to the top of the 9th. And they really needed a run so that they could stay in there. And they got it from Jared Walsh, who's been having a hard time up to this point. He's not been the Jared Walsh before. He's been slumping. So he singles to right field, which scores Trout. Trout had walked. And they really need to thank an old friend and teammate of theirs for setting this up. Because Trout walked, Shohei Ohtani walked, then Rendon hit a fly ball. Then they changed out Hansel Robles, Blanco Caballo, who was with the Angels. He was their closer until they got Rysel, which now really looks like a better deal when you see it up close. But they got to thank Hansel for what he did. And they're able to tie it up. They're able to shut down. Ryan Tepera comes in, shuts down the Sox, and move into Zinning. And this is where everything comes apart for the Red Sox. Matt Barnes gives up 4 runs on 2 hits. The Angels score 6 runs in the 10th. They give up 1 in the bottom of the 10th, but they're able to hold on and win it. Taylor Ward, pinch hit, home run. Max Stassi throughout the game, 1 for 4 with a home run. Anthony Rendon had a home run, 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Reed Detmers, 4 2/3 innings, gave up 4 hits and 3 runs. But it was Jared Walsh who put the icing on the cake, as it were. Actually, he didn't even just put the icing on there. He did a full decorating job on the top of that cake. He's one of those, like if you were watching one of those cake wars or something like that, and they, wanted to, what was the show? Joel McHale, Crime Scene Kitchen, and they would make cakes, but you had to make the dessert in the way that and if it was a cake, if there was a design on it, you wanted to be as close as possible. He made the most elaborate cake with.
Yeah, he just needed a triple in this game to hit for the cycle. Just to tell you how this cake was decorated.
Oh, yeah. He was 3 for 5, 4 RBIs. He got the home run at the best possible point in time in that 10th inning. He hits a 3-run homer, and boom, it was over. They shut out. They stopped the Red Sox and hold them to just that 1 extra run and win in innings 10-5. It was definitely worth recapping. That was a game that actually, when they were replaying it on another time, I stopped and watched the replay. And the Dodgers do that sometimes too. They have on their channel Squeeze Play, and it's condensed down. They take out some of the stuff, so you don't have to see all the strikeouts. So
right, yeah,
pretty incredible game, and it gets you all fired up to go to the finale in Boston. And once again, the Angels couldn't put anything together for like the first 6 innings. Lucky for them, Shohei, in his very first start at Fenway, he's played there before, but he's never started a game there before, has a great outing. 7 innings pitched, gave up 6 hits, no runs, and 11 strikeouts on the day. The only person that kind of matched his efforts that day, former Dodger, Blister King, Rich Hill. He's like, what, 50, 52 now, something like that?
He's up there.
5 innings pitched, gave up 1 hit, struck out 6. It was Tanner Houck who was the problem for the Red Sox. And once again, who stepped up for the Angels when they scored 8 over the last 3 innings? Starting in the 7th, 2, 5, and 1. 8 runs on 8 hits. Captain Caveman with a home run, 2 for 4. Shohei helping his own cause with 2 hits out of 4 at-bats with an RBI. But it was Jared Walsh. Another home run, 4 RBIs on a 2 for 4 day that the Angels shut out the Red Sox 8-0. And it was just, after the first 6 innings of scoreless baseball, you're wondering what's going to happen because they just, a hit here, a hit there. It was sparse, but they did it. They blanked the Sox and really showed. Everybody's talking like this is the kind of team where they're able to come from nowhere, like coming out of extra innings the night before. And then this was a day game. It wasn't like there was no fatigue. It didn't feel like the next day. Maybe that's what they did. They chilled the first 6 innings, and then they got their second wind. And
just like a runner, they kind of start out because you don't want to start out fast because then you lose steam, you lose speed. So maybe that's what they were doing. Yeah, this was Shohei Ohtani was the first starting pitcher to bat in one of the top 4 spots in a game at Fenway since Babe Ruth did it on September 20th, 1919. Nice company there. Is amazing. One of my favorite shots of the game was Ohtani before the game in the bullpen, and just the crowd around that bullpen, all eyes focused on Ohtani. Just shows you it didn't matter if you were, Angels fan or obviously mostly Red Sox fans there, but or any baseball fan, they were all laser focused on this moment. So
There was an
And-
interesting moment at the beginning of the game because Ohtani hit or batted in the top of the first, comes out to pitch, and forgot to take his batting gloves out of his back pocket. And you can't have, as a pitcher, you can't have anything hanging out like that. So he had to stop, go over, take his batting gloves back over to the dugout, and then come out and pitch. And it's like, that was a moment right there where you're like, this is a whole different world.
yeah. Well, and Joe Madden described him as outer worldly. He just said it's outer worldly because you don't want to get used to it because it's just so amazing every time.
Right.
You see him. And yeah, so I'm sure there might have been a lot
he
some
said
pictures.
That. Listen, I don't want this to be like an afterthought.
Yeah.
This is incredible every day. And until we have more than one player capable of doing this in the league, this is always going to be. And as long as he's playing like this, right now, he's regaining that form. He looks like his numbers are similar now than to what they were last year. And if he can continue to do that, and the Angels can continue to play, if Mike Trout can stay healthy, he's coming back around. Anthony Rendon seems to be, he's still kind of lagging back, but he seems to be picking it up. And with the W's, Walsh and Ward, Brandon Marsh started off hot, kind of fell back, but he might be picking it up. So they take on the Nationals when they come back home. Nationals in for 3. Of course, the Friday night game was Anthony Rendon T-shirt night. And in good fashion, the Angels didn't lose to the Nationals. They blanked them 3-0. The Nationals only had 4 hits. And I feel like as if I was some sort of master prognosticator, that I had a crystal ball, because I remember last week saying probably the next pitcher to be called up will be Jonathan Diaz. And sure enough, he's the one who started out on Friday's game. 5 innings, 3 hits, struck out 4, but walked 4. But he made his way through. Loop, Tepera, and Iglesias finished up the game with perfect 3 innings to close it all out. Trout 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Taylor Ward 3 base on balls, and they got the 3 runs. Move on. They struck out 10 times in that game. And I meant to mention something, and I want to bring it up now just because it's on the top of my head. Game 2 of that Dodger series versus the Cubs, they only had 3 hits in that game. They won 6-2 on 3 hits. They were walked 9 times and struck out 10 times. It's amazing that they won.
Yeah.
On that. So we move on to game 2. Well, it happens. The Angels couldn't quite put it together. And Michael Lorenzen, who finally had kind of that bad game, or not a great game, 4 2/3 innings, gave up 5 hits and 5 runs, struck out 7 though. And the Nats, led by home runs by Josh Bell, Nelson Cruz, and Yadiel Hernandez, as well as a couple of doubles, a double and 3 RBIs by Maikel Franco, fell to former Dodger pitcher Josiah Gray. Was on the mound for the Nats. Jared Walsh, home run, another one, and 2 for 4. Brandon Marsh with a home run and 2 RBIs, but just wasn't enough. Elvis Peguero, he of the 20.25 ERA, was a lot to blame for not shutting him down after Lorenzen had his issue. So the finale, the Sunday game, the Angels got their second walk-off win of the season.
Always exciting. Walk-offs are always exciting, however they come.
Oh, yeah. Taylor Ward, 2 for 4 in that game. Shohei, 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Jared Walsh, 1 for 3. Anthony Rendon, You heard his name come up a lot over the this last week of games. 2 for 5. Patrick Sandoval, who is turning into, you can't say the ace of the staff because that's Shohei at this point, and Thor's pitched pretty well. But Patrick Sandoval actually has the record this season for the most swing and misses in a game with 32, more than Shohei has had. Shohei's number 2 in the league, but he went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 runs, struck out 5, and the Angels, like I said, walk away with a 5-4 win. It looked like they were going to lose this one and lose the series to that, but they come away with 4-2 week and remain top of the AL West, although the Asterisks are biting at their heels. Coming up, they're going to put the wrap on their 20 games in 20 days. Tampa Bay comes to visit them in Angel Stadium, and then they're going to head out on the road to take on 2 of their AL West foes, the A's, home of a major surprise. We'll talk about him in Around Baseball, and then they're going to go to Texas for 3 with the Rangers.
After the walk-off, the team's excited. It was an exciting moment. And, they always try to rip off the jersey. And then, of course, at the end, they want to dump the Gatorade, the water, whatever. And Anthony Rendon is being interviewed. Brandon Marsh, they're sneaking up. And, Rendon's been around. He knows. He gets out of the way. The Gatorade goes flying, and so does Brandon Marsh, who falls and
flat on his face.
Flat on his face, rolls over on his back, and just laughs. But so that was a fun moment.
I think, and Anthony Rendon just had to shake his head. Rookies.
Yeah, that's it. Which we didn't mention. Did we mention this? That Joe Adell is.
No, you know what I was going to
didn't.
do? And we need to do this twice now because I noticed last week we didn't pay off on something, and I was about to blow it this time. Joe Adell sent back down. He's having his issues. He looked great during spring training. But see, that's what I said all along. It's only spring training. And I feel like there was a change in his attitude between spring training and coming up. And it's not that he doesn't have the goods. He hit some home runs, hit a grand slam while he was up. He's still got defensive issues. He's not hitting well. Go to AAA. I didn't check on him to see what his numbers were in AAA. Since he's been down there because I think he was just barely starting a game the other day. So take a look and see how he's doing there. But there's a lot of people. We don't need him up right now. We need him to get right if he can. But no.
Well, we didn't mention him. And then I also did not mention in the Dodgers segment, which I should have because Kershaw did pitch. But last week I alluded to a nickname and that I have never heard for Clayton Kershaw, and that is the Claw. Yes, the Claw. The Claw. And JT, Justin Turner, had never heard of it either because he
like the movie Liar Liar?
Maybe.
Isn't that what Jim Carrey does with his kid? It's the
yeah,
Claw.
The Claw. So that was the Kershaw nickname that no one had ever heard of except for some writer, probably a kid that, just, you need to put something together real quick on, Twitter, because Kershaw is now the strikeout leader for the Dodgers. And they said the Claw is the new strikeout leader for the Dodgers. So, yeah, in a trivia question.
And nobody knew where, and they didn't say where it came from?
No, I don't know where they found it or they maybe misread, but I've never heard him. He's always Kirsch. I never heard him.
Yeah.
The Claw.
Well, at my house, he's known as the Wizard.
The Wizard. Yes.
So
not the Claw. So I had to do that. But let's get back to the Angels and player of the week. Well, this was a tough one for me. Not really. Jared Walsh. I had to go with Jared Walsh. 9 for 23, 9 RBIs, 3 home runs, a double, singles, getting the hits when he needed. Like I said, in the one game, he was just shy of the cycle, just needed a triple. Yeah, got to give it up to Jared Walsh.
Playing good defense as well. Jared Walsh was the unanimous choice for player of the week this week. And how else could it be? When you look through, that's the one thing I always look. When I look at the games, I always look game after game, whose name keeps popping up. It's like, and right now it's the W's.
Yeah.
Yes, Alex, I'll take W's for the win.
That's right. It's funny because when we do player of the week, we don't consult each other. We find out as we're talking. So, and I think at least the last couple of weeks, we picked the same.
For both. Yeah. For
player.
Both teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For both teams.
So there you go. It's, who else could it be? Jared Walsh. Who he's picking it back up. He seems to be getting his swing. Shohei seems to be getting comfortable with his. Right now, the Angels are a fun team to watch. Let's see how long they can keep that up. And let's see what the overreaction is when they do hit a skid. All right, now that we've talked about our favorites, the Dodgers and the Angels, let's take a look around baseball. Down the street here at Arcadia Little League, I don't know. They're just all playing and having fun. That's what's going on over there. I think most of them are having fun. Anyway, let's start off as we always do. Let's take a look at the Division I ranking for college baseball. From what I see, looks like not a lot of movement in the top 6.
Yeah, not a lot of movement. Tennessee did have its first weekend series loss on the road at Kentucky against the Wildcats, but they still held on to their number 1 spot. 42-6, they still have the best record, and 20-4 in SEC play. And so number 2, Oregon State swept Oregon. The top 6 teams remain the same, so no movement there. Louisville, the Cardinals jumped 3 spots to number 7, and Stanford climbed 3 places to number 8. Texas Tech held steady at 9. Texas A&M moved up 3 spots to number 10. And we talked about the Gauchos last week, the UC Santa Barbara Gauchos. They made the biggest jump of the week, up 6 spots to number 19. Southern Miss and UCLA both had a really rough week. They both fell. Southern Miss to 14 and UCLA to 15.
UCLA swept by University of Washington. So that was the Huskies. Yeah. The Huskies took a bite out of the Bruins, and big drop there. Southern Miss had losses to Alabama, Birmingham, and Old Dominion that didn't help them too much.
Yeah, and 3 teams entered the top 25 this week. One of them, the preseason number 1, Texas, returned to the rankings at number 22 after winning a road series at West Virginia. Vanderbilt, another preseason top 5 team, rejoined the rankings at number 24 on their road series win against Georgia. And Georgia fell out of the top 25.
Formerly number 22, Georgia.
Yep. And Grand Canyon University made its season debut in the rankings at number 25 after a win against Arizona. So Georgia Tech, Georgia, and the Horned Frogs of Texas Christian University dropped out of the 25. But Tennessee is still hanging on even after their loss at Kentucky.
Go Wildcats.
And I didn't even think, we talked about Tennessee being, the preseason favorite. And then I thought, wait a minute, we haven't seen Vanderbilt. Where's Vanderbilt? Well, now they're back. So we'll see how that all plays out.
Yeah, Vanderbilt was out of there a lot longer than Texas was. Texas was out for like a week and then found their way back in. Vandy's been out for a few weeks.
Yep. So always changes. But it looks like the Vols are still plugging away.
Now, can they ride their success to a national championship?
That's right. Will they ride it to Omaha? Who knows?
I don't know. We'll find out in just over a month. All right, taking a look at the minor leagues. Let's go to the Atlantic League first, where last week we talked about Kelsey Whitmore making her debut as the first woman to be in a starting lineup for a professional team, the Staten Island Fairy Hawks. She now has pitched in a game. She faced one batter in her first appearance in the ninth and got out of a bases loaded jam. She came in with the bases loaded and faced one batter, got him out, and it was a former major leaguer at that, and got him to fly out to end the game. Now I did see she's had some other appearances, but that was her first one. So hopefully every time we hear about her, she's just getting better and better. I'd like to see her, maybe break the what is that? The female barrier, the woman barrier. I don't know, what would you call it?
I don't know. What do they call that?
The I guess what the glass ceiling. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll take a look now. Last week I mentioned Diego Cartaya and said, well, he's only hitting 200. He's not doing great. Well, I guess he heard me because he went on a tear, raising his batting average like over 100 points in a week. But what I liked was in a game because he plays for Rancho Cucamonga, the Quakes, in a game versus the Lake Elsinore Storm in the California League, which is the San Diego team. He took Blake Snell. Yes, that former Cy Young Award winner who's on a rehab start with the Lake Elsinore Storm, took him deep. So is Blake Snell ready to go back to the Padres? I don't know. Diego Cartaya, or is Diego Cartaya ready to go to the bigs, or at least move up to Double-A? So he's been on it, 11 RBIs, 4 homers over this stretch, and that was his third straight game with a homer. Also in the Dodgers system, playing for the Drillers, James Outman, 5 RBIs over a doubleheader versus Wichita, which included a 3-run home run. And I mentioned him last week with the AAA, the Oklahoma City Dodgers. Ryan Pepio is how you say it. Pepio has moved up to the taxi squad, and there is talk that he's going to be joining the Dodgers for at least a spot start somewhere along the way here. So we may see him make his major league debut. For the Angels, just wanted to take a look at one guy playing for Rocket City, the Trash Pandas, the number 1 prospect in the Angel system from last year's draft, Sam Bachman. And he was off about the first month of the season with the injury issues. Made his first start of the season, went 3 innings, gave up no runs, 1 hit, and struck out 1. Overall, they say he looked pretty good for the Trash Pandas. Let's take a look now at the MLB's Players of the Week.
All right. Another week, another Brewer. Brewers first baseman Rowdy Tellez is the NL Player of the Week. He drove in 12 runs last week. Most of his run production came during one night. He had 8 RBIs versus the Reds. He set a Brewers franchise record, and he was part of a 4-hit performance that included 2 home runs. But he also decided to hit another home run on Tuesday, clocked 2 doubles on Thursday, and a 2-run double on Friday, all of which came in Brewers wins. He batted .321 for the week. 7 of his 9 hits went for extra bases. And as I said, the crew, back-to-back NL Players of the Week. Last week it was Willy Adames. and they just passed the trophy down to Rowdy. And then for the AL, Rays outfielder Manuel Amargo also drove in 12 runs in the last week. His nickname for his team that his teammates have given him, not the Claw, but Manny Margo ahead.
That would have been awkward if he'd been the Claw too.
Yeah. The Rays swept the A's. He had a tie-breaking 2-run single, and then 2 days later, he had a go-ahead 3-run homer to get the Rays over the Mariners. He's already had 3 go-ahead hits in the 8th inning or later this season. He went deep in each of the 3 games against Seattle and finished the week with a .500 average, 12 for 24, an MLB at best 1.580 OPS, 7 runs, 7 extra base hits, 2 steals to go along with those dozen RBIs. And he is the first Ray to win Player of the Week since Brandon Lowe in Brandon Lau in August 2020.
Just call him Lowe. I don't like him anyway.
Low Lau. He's a low Lau.
Yeah, let's just call the whole thing off. You said that it all happened in one night. All of a sudden, I got that song, One Night in Bangkok, in my head. One night in Milwaukee makes Rowdy to Les, I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe he had that in his head.
Maybe he did.
And
it would have been better if he'd have been in
means
Cincinnati, because he could do One Night in Cincy makes a hard man. I don't know.
yeah.
Wrong.
Hopefully, as I say, hopefully nobody is climbing into the back of the truck that's there at the Great American Ballpark at Cincinnati. Somebody had tweeted out, "Hey, come join me about the 4th or 5th inning. I'm going to be scaling this wall to get up to the truck, and I'm gonna poop in it."
I'm gonna leave a little gift in the bed of the truck. Anybody else want to go? I wouldn't have been surprised to see a whole bunch of people wanting to go do that. Now, they must have been a little happy, because I'm sure Pittsburgh came into Cincinnati thinking, "Yeah,
we got it.
And instead,
Sweet time.
Cincinnati beats them 2 out of 3.
Yeah. What's that about?
All right, let me ask you this, though. The Dodgers are going to play Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just lost to the worst team in baseball, Cincinnati. So what does it say about the Dodgers if they lose to Pittsburgh?
That'll be the worst. It'll be the season is over. The reactions, the overreaction to the reaction. I don't know.
It'll be terrible. So
guess it'll all depend on how my mood is next week.
So Cincy grabbed is up to 5 wins now instead of just 3.
Woo!
So
5 is better than 3.
Now, before we move on and look at some other notes from around and head off to hop on the wheel, it is carnival season around a lot of places, so there'll be quite a few wheels spinning. But there's a guy that we saw play for the Dodgers last year who landed with the A's, and if he keeps up what he's been doing, he may very well be a Player of the Week.
Can you imagine?
Surprising. He's got 29 hits and 95 at-bats, hit 2 home runs, batting .305, scored 10 runs, 14 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, and an OPS plus of 139. So that means he's well above average of what the league averages. It's Sheldon Noisy.
Yeah, making the noise at the plate for the A's. Yeah, not a name that you would think would be lighting it up, but he is.
No, he's been one of the hottest bats, and yeah, surprise. And maybe for him, it's being on a team. Number one, he's playing every day. It's not like playing on the Dodgers where you're surrounded by so many MVP caliber players that there's pressure on you to step up and do that, and be, when the other guys are failing, you need to do it. That's how it works in Dodger Town. You would have thought by now he'd be out of the majors based on his history. But right now that the A's have found another hidden gem, at least for now. We'll see if he can keep it up for the whole season. But you need to give him his due while he's going strong. Bobby Witt Jr., one of the most heralded rookies to make their debut this season, hit his very first home run, only to have, and it bounced back onto the field, only to have Harrison Bader of the Cardinals throw it back into
Darth Bader.
Yeah, throw it back into the stands. He didn't throw it over so that Bobby could have his first home run ball.
Yeah, which to be authenticated, and you got to think that the Royals dugout, they do the universal sign,
the hand shaking for the ball,
and need the ball. He threw it in the fountain. What a guy. So nice. Now, the story does have a happy ending. Bobby Witt Jr. did get his first home run ball out of the fountain. It was a little wet, but they just stick it in the humidor, so it'll be okay. Dry it out.
Well, and luckily, there's a humidor there.
Yeah.
See, finally, there's a silver lining to humidors.
But yeah, Harrison Bader, even though he's got great hair, but he is forever known as
a jerk
Darth.
Move.
It was. He is Darth Bader. He will always be known. And I hope that I think it's the Cardinals will be playing on Sunday Night Baseball coming up this week. And on Sunday, they always mic up a player. And on Sunday, they mic'd up JT, who was the designated hitter, so it worked out. And they ask whoever is mic'd up the previous Sunday gets to pick the next player to be mic'd up. And he picked Harrison Bader. So I really hope that they ask him, what were you thinking? Did you do it out of spite?
Are you just that big of a jerk?
Did
somebody do that to your first home run ball?
Yeah. I mean, just like, and he knew he had to have known. He knew he could play dumb, but he knew.
So you're saying he knew?
He knew.
We mentioned that, Rowdy Tellez and his 8 RBIs, the Brewers over Cincinnati game, 18-4, 17 hits. And they scored those 18 runs without scoring runs in the second and the fourth. They put up no runs. Either ones. I know. I don't know. It's crazy. You would have thought they would have scored every time.
Now, for the Brewers, their mascot, did he go down the slide for home runs, or is it every time they score? Because that would be a lot of trips.
Runs.
Okay, because that'd be a lot of times down the slide.
He probably didn't have time to get back up the slide before he had to go back down again.
Right.
He's like, I'm a brewer. I got beer to be making. I don't know why. What's this slide thing? And then the Mets took care of a 25-year-old problem. They were 0 for 33 over the last 25 years when trailing by 6 or more runs going into the 9th inning. Well, that all changed the other night versus the Phillies, where the Mets scored 7 runs in the 9th. And they can thank James Norwood and former Dodger Corey Knebel for giving up those 7 runs and breaking that 25-year streak. Now they're 1 at 3:30 when they're trailing by 6 runs going into 6 runs or more going into the 9th inning.
What a gut punch for the Phillies. They were all like, yeah, we got this.
Yeah, they were in cruise mode.
Yeah. That's why it's important. You run out every play to first base because you never know. And even if you're up by 7, you still play the game hard.
Yes, yeah, you got to go to the end. Just ask the Giants, because they've been under fire quite a bit for unwritten rules for bunting, at the wrong time, or hitting home runs on when you're blowing somebody out, or
how dare them. Now, I did hear that Gabe Kapler said that during spring training they worked on bunting. And I've been pretty impressed because seems to be one of those lost arts of the game.
Yeah.
And the Giants are like, we're bringing it back.
We're bringing bunting back. Yeah.
I was going to say, is it sexy? I don't know. In San Francisco, it is.
I think it's cool when you start seeing that because it changes the complexion of the game.
Right.
And it really makes the players can't kind of cheat like they can now. And if you bunt in a shift, it really throws things off. It puts a lot of pressure on the pitcher there to get off the mound, to get one. If you get it halfway where it's too far for the catcher to really get out there, and the pitcher has to make that play because the third baseman's too far back or too far over, or maybe, even at second base for that matter. Yeah, I think I'd like to see a lot more of that.
Yeah, me too.
All right, one last thing before we get dizzy. The Yankees, their streak is over at 11 game win streak. I remember not too long ago when the Yankees fans were losing their minds because the Yankees just weren't playing. The big guys didn't seem to be hitting, but things seem to be changing.
Yeah, definitely for the Yankees. But the really cool moment was when the Yankees were in Toronto playing the Blue Jays. And, in the stands, there are always, of course, your home team fans, and you will have, the Yankees fans or, the opposing teams will have their fans there. And that's what happened. And they were chatting it up, and there was, I think it was maybe 9 or 10, this little boy, big Yankees fan, had a Judge, had a Yankee shirt, but on the back it had Aaron Judge's number on it. And Aaron Judge hits a home run. The Blue Jays fan catches it and immediately, without even thinking, just hands it to this little boy, who gives him a huge hug. And
just
so
immediately.
Yeah.
Without hesitation, without thinking, he just leapt at him.
Yeah. And the Blue Jays fan says, I can't believe that I didn't start crying because I'm a pretty emotional guy. But of course it was caught on tape, and it was shown to Aaron Judge. So the next night, the Blue Jays fan, the Yankees fan, along with his brother and his dad, all got to go into the dugout and meet Aaron Judge. And this little boy was just beside himself, crying, just, hopefully tears of joy that he gets to meet Aaron Judge. And the other thing, really cool thing about Aaron Judge, he's a tall guy. And a lot of times,
6'7"
adults will, talk to the kids, but look down at them while they're talking at him. Aaron Judge gets down at his level and is talking to him and hugging him because the kid's just like, his idol. So, and also really cool, this family, the Yankees fans, they immigrated to Canada from Venezuela. So they were really excited to talk to Gleyber Torres and some other players.
Oh, that's cool.
But, yeah, so really neat moment.
What did the Blue Jays fan say? Hey, you're okay, Aaron, but you're no Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Right. He's like, I finally got my chance. No, I've always wanted to say that to you. No, he looked like he was really...
I wanted to go all Tanya Harding on you and take you out of the game because I don't want to be catching any more of your home run balls.
Yeah, so just a really cool moment. And especially, baseball, you have those moments where... we saw that, I think it was last year with the Dodgers and Mookie Betts, and it was, I can't remember the guy, the Dodgers player. It was his first home run. He had been called up, and it was his first home run, and a Cincinnati fan had caught the ball. Mookie asked him for it. He gave it to him, and then Mookie gave him a bat. And, of course, then everybody's like, hey, can we take pictures with the bat, and of course he did. So yeah, I mean, there's always rivalries, but even though I had to sit behind the guy in Colorado going beat LA, it was still good natured and we had some laughs. So yeah.
Yeah, as
I
long
like
as
those
it doesn't
stories.
lead to brawls like happened, it seems like, with the Dodgers and the Giants every time. There's a
Right.
video on there where a Giants fan got dropped. The Dodger fan hit him and he just went down. It's like,
Yeah.
there's just got to be enough of no more.
Yeah,
Just,
no
you know
more.
what?
It's a
Can't
game.
you just, Rodney King it, get along? It's only baseball.
That's it. It's only
It's
baseball.
just a game. These guys are probably the guys, you guys are fighting it, and the players are probably out hanging out after the game together.
Yeah, my favorite is always, now we have him. He was always been this way at first base, but when he was a Brave and now he's a Dodger, Freddie Freeman. If a guy gets a hit, he goes over and he kind of slaps him on the leg with his glove, like, "Hey, good job."
All right, now what I want to know is this week like a carnival ride? Remember the wheel? It was like the G-force thing. You got in, there was no straps or chains or anything to hold you in place. You stood up on the wall and it was a centrifuge and it just started spinning and it plastered you up against the wall. Or they had one that was like the dropout and we do that and you stood on the wall and the bottom fell out kind of thing. Do you need to put on your goggles for this week's Wheel of IL? Don't throw up.
I hope not to. That'd be awful. So let's look at the Dodgers real quick. Blake Trinan mentioned that he was out with shoulder issues. He was going to have an MRI, and we're like, oh, that doesn't sound good. But instead of the MRI, he is going to be starting a rehab throwing program. So that could be good news. And also Andrew Heaney is also going to be starting a throwing program. But Victor Gonzalez, we have not seen him, but he had elbow surgery. We're just going to say that because I apparently can't say arthroscopic. Yeah, where they cleaned his elbow out. So we'll see, if and when he comes back this season. And then we'll move down to Anaheim with the Angels. David Fletcher was on the IL, came back, is back on the IL. Looks like probably maybe a little too soon, still has the hip strain. And didn't you mention that there's maybe talk of a possible surgery with him?
Yeah, that may be surgery. It's something that he's been dealing with since spring training. And
okay.
that could be the case. I'm sure that it's something that they'll want to figure out sooner than later, so he can get it done and get back to try to get back to form and back this season. And then, luckily for him and for the Angels, Andrew Velasquez and Tyler Wade have really been doing well. And they called up Luis Rengifo.
Yeah.
In his spot.
And then Austin Warren decided he just didn't like his nose, and he's getting nose surgery. Now, actually, he got hit in the nose, so he will be having surgery
during a weird batting practice incident.
Yeah,
the ball came and just hit him in the face.
Yeah, so he'll be, we'll see. Does he have the same nose? Do they style a little differently? I don't know. But he's on the 15-day IL. And then Kurt Suzuki is also on the IL, undisclosed. So we all know what that means. COVID. So we'll see when he comes back. For the Cubs, Marcus Stroman was supposed to start in the game against the Dodgers and was scratched. Also undisclosed. That's COVID. And then Cincinnati, Joey Votto, Mike Moustakas, and Nick Senzel, also all on the IL. Again, undisclosed. It's COVID. Zach Wheeler, the Phillies, COVID. Didi Gregorius has a knee sprain, and he is on the 10-day IL. And Roberto Perez, their catcher, is also on the 10-day with a hamstring. Mention San Diego, but we mentioned this guy because he was a former Dodger. Really liked Matt Beatty. He is on the IL with a shoulder impingement. He hasn't really had a lot of opportunities to bat or play, so which is unfortunate, but he's on the IL. And then I think John Gray really likes to spin because he is been on the IL. He had a blister, got off the wheel, back on the wheel with knee soreness. Then he's now back on the wheel day to day, so he, can hop on and off. But that might be the problem because he still has knee soreness. So John Gray not working out for the Rangers like they were hoping.
No.
And that's this week's Will of IL.
All right, let's go to talk about a whiner, Chris Woodward. He's whined about unwritten rules before. We talked about that a little bit more. Recently, Rangers and Yankees playing, and Gleyber Torres hits a walk-off home run, to which Chris Woodward, not being a sore loser is what he is, says, well, luckily he hit it right field. It's in a little league park.
I never thought Yankee Stadium is Little League.
He said that's out in 99% of the stadiums. No, that's a home run in 26 of 30 stadiums.
Yeah.
Based on the measurement of the home run. So Chris Woodward needs to shut up. Chris Woodward, when your team is running away with the AL West and beating the Yankees consistently, then you can say stuff like that. Until then, that's enough.
Well, and then he did come back and and said, "Oh well, I regretted that comment."
Yeah, well, no, you don't.
He didn't, he said probably bad words on my part. Probably.
Yeah, probably. Here's the deal, Chris Woodward. In your playing career, over the games you played in Yankee Stadium, you never hit a home run there. 0 home runs in Yankee Stadium. You have no thing to say.
I wonder too with him is he was like, we got Seager and Simeon, and we're getting it, and they're just like a dud. It's just a
They
dud.
can only thank the Oakland A's, who are actually playing to expectations right now and being in last place, that they're not in last place. Because the AL West, only the Angels and the Asterix are over 500. Both teams are well over 500. They're both in the 600 winning percentage. And everybody else, the Mariners, the Rangers, and the A's, are all under 500. So the AL West is not like the NL West.
No. And I looked back at Woodward's comments again. It's like, I regret that. And then he keeps talking about it, and he just keeps digging himself a hole. Like, oh, this is one of my favorite places I had ever played. I knew it was a home run when he hit it. I was just joking. It's like, shut up. Just stop.
Apparently, he went to the Trevor Bauer School of situations, I guess. At some
media
point,
relations. I don't know.
Yeah, at some point you just gotta stop, quit while you're behind, and try to just. Eventually, everybody will forget. But if you keep bringing it up, nobody can ever forget about it. All right, before we put a wrap on things, this is certainly one of those last and least when it comes to who we're talking about. But good old Josh Reddick getting a little, bottom right-hand corner on the in like the next to last page of the newspaper, under some of those notices about people no longer responsible for their own debt or doing business as things. He is going to play baseball in Australia.
Yes, for the Perth Heat of the Australian Baseball League. He signed a 1-year contract. He is playing currently in the Mexican League, but because summer, they're in the opposite. Yeah, so they're below the equator. So summer is like November, December.
Right.
So
Their league starts in November, so he can finish his time with the Aces in the Mexican League, and then head on down to Perth.
Yeah. So
the question is, where does he go next? I didn't even know they had a pro baseball league in Australia until now. And he said, "I just want to play."
And this is the sad part. According to this, what I've read, and I've seen this more than once.
You're having a hard time keeping a straight face with this.
I can't. He is one of the most prominent players to ever play in the ABL, and he'll join a Perth club that includes such former MLB veterans as Zach Riniger, and Warwick Sappold. So, yeah, do you know those guys? I don't. Maybe have seen a name there too. But the most prominent player makes me laugh. Josh Reddick.
I guess, really, because we didn't know those other names. If you read it later and said Josh Reddick is playing in the Australia, you'd be like, oh, I know who Josh Reddick is.
Yeah, that's about it. But yeah, enjoy Australia.
If they don't kick him out. Of course, Australia is where England used to send all of their criminals. I don't know. Australia is a wonderful country. I wouldn't wish Josh Reddick upon them at all.
No.
All right. I got one last thing that I forgot to bring up during the Division I, during the college baseball section. I noticed the other day that the South Carolina Gamecocks have their own home run celebration. And when they get back to the dugout, they put a Davy Crockett hat on, and then they run through the dugout, high five and everything with the Davy Crockett hat on.
Oh, all right.
It was just like, okay, I guess now that's the thing. You got to do it.
Gotta do it.
All right, so we'll put we'll turn things off and let you stew in the juices that are this week's Sibling Rivalry Baseball podcast. Once again, we are on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And SiblingRivalryBB.com. We will be back next week with more Dodgers, Angels, and around baseball. See you then.